Welcome, ZASLOW Show 2.0. It is a Tuesday, the 27th of December. Good to have you aboard. Hope everyone is recovering from the holiday weekend. We are marching toward the new year. That's right, this weekend's going to be the last day of the year 2022, the year of our Lord, and then we go into 2023. That's what happens next at the end of the year. And then you got January 1, and then we're off and running with a brand new year. So hope everybody's ready for that. You're staying safe. You're staying warm. If you're watching right now on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@ZASLOW Show, I'm cold as a mother. All right, you look at me. I got this hood going on right here. You see, boom, there you go. I'm not going to wear it because it's kind of awkward then with the headphones. But I got my Pearl Jam hooded sweatshirt on. It is cold as hell. We can't be the only family that does this, right? So, and this is definitely a very South Florida thing, right? We are avoiding at all costs until the last possible time to put the heat on. We're trying not to put the heat on, all right? Everybody knows here in South Florida what happens when you put the heat on, right? Before I say it, you all know what I'm going to say, right? What happens when you put the heat on? Your house now stinks. It stinks. Every house has that same smell when you put the heat on. So we're trying our best to avoid that scenario right there. And as a result, we're freezing our asses off in here. What is this weather? It is so cold. Be careful you're going outside. It's very dangerous out there. And inside the house, you're wearing your hoods. I'm wearing long pants right now. It's freaking freezing. All right, so hope everybody, you're staying as warm as you possibly can there. We got a lot here to get to, all right? You got Monday Night Football from last night. Terrible game, but it does impact the Dolphins, so obviously we'll get to that. We got very big Dolphins news, unfortunately, from yesterday, which will, of course, dominate the show. We got a poll question, a ZASLOW Show 2.0 poll question. We'll get to that coming up, and the Heat won last night. I do have to start by telling you, though, I had a terrible dream last night, all right? We fast-forwarded. Now it's because it was on my mind, right? Because Tua now being out. I mean, he's not going to play this weekend. He may never play for the team again. But you got Tua being out this weekend, most likely, or at least that news, that potential, that possibility was on my mind last night before I'm going to sleep. And so what happens when you think about something before you go to sleep? It's likely going to be what you dream about. And we've been through this before. I get some weird dreams, right? I get the dreams where it hasn't happened in a little while, but I get the recurring dreams. I get the recurring dreams where my teeth are shattering. Oh, it's so bad. And I also have, so that's one of my recurring dreams. I have another recurring dream, which is so weird, where I'm back in school. I got this, like I'm a talk show host, but I'm back in school. Why am I in school? And when I say school, I'm talking high school. I'm back in high school, all right? So that's another one of my recurring dreams. Those are my two main recurring dreams. I don't know what they mean. Whatever. So last night, though, because the Dolphins and Tua being out, that was on my mind. I had a dream last night. We fast forwarded to this weekend, week 17. Yeah, Dolphins, Patriots, and the Dolphins were getting shellacked. They were getting their ass kicked, and the quarterback for the Dolphins was Reed Sinnett. That's right. Reed, not Bridgewater, not Skylar Thompson. Reed Sinnett was the quarterback for the Dolphins. He threw another interception. The Dolphins were down 24-9, getting their shit kicked in. I was very upset in the middle of my dream. Reed Sinnett was the quarterback for the Dolphins. So very upsetting way to wake up after having to experience that dream. And of course, we're going to have to talk that baby out because that's obviously the big story today with the Dolphins. But let's start out here. And like I said, you know what? So we got a poll question for today. ZASLOW Show 2.0 poll question. Go to @ZASLOW Show. You vote right now. I'll update it again toward the end of the show here today. But go check it out @ZASLOW Show. You can also message me @ZASLOWJ on Instagram. But the poll question is obviously on Twitter @ZASLOW Show. So ZASLOW Show 2.0 poll. With Tua in concussion protocol, do you take back anything you said after his 3 interceptions? That's the poll question for today. Obviously, a lot of things were said by Dolphin fans on television, what have you. Do you take back anything that you said? Do you feel bad because, hey, maybe the concussion, or we don't even know for sure if he had a concussion, but do you take back anything you may have said about the 3 interceptions in the fourth quarter. I mean, I told you yesterday, huge meltdown, big-time choke job by Tua. Do you take back anything you said after his 3 interceptions? And right now, well, let me tell you what the choices are. The choices are, yes, I'm so sorry. And the other choice is, no, he still stunk. So those are your 2 choices. And right now, with Tua in concussion protocol, excuse me, do you take back anything you said after his 3 interceptions? And the leader right now, with 54% of the vote, no, he still stunk. So most of the Dolphin fan, most of the ZASLOW Show 2.0 listener does not regret anything they said. Now, I think that probably has a bit to do with the fact that it's a 4-game skid and he hasn't played well. In 2 of the previous 3 games, he did not play well. If you want to pinpoint when he may have suffered the concussion, and again, it's big may, it's big might. We don't know. If you want to pinpoint when he may have suffered the concussion in this past weekend's game, he played very poorly after that. So I think probably a lot of people who are saying they don't feel bad, no, he still stunk, you're taking into account probably the entire 4-game losing streak, and that's okay. You could do that. So go vote. I'll update the poll question again toward the end. And, certainly when you're listening right now, you go and you vote, and the poll results are going to be much different than what I'm giving you right now. Because you're listening to the podcast. You're listening to ZASLOW Show 2.0 today in the future. I already recorded what you're listening right now, okay? This is in the past. Not too far in the past, but it's in the past. So you're listening in the future. It's very exciting how time travel works. So anyway, let me get back to the Dolphins. Let's start out here with a little bit of good, because the Dolphin stuff is really shitty. Let's start out with some good here, and that, of course, is the effort that you got from the Miami Heat last night, which kind of makes things all the more frustrating, right? Like the game that you got against Minnesota, the game that you got against Chicago, the game that you got against Indiana, certainly the game against Chicago. I mean, the Indiana game, you lost right before the buzzer because Kyle Lowry had a brain fart and Tyrese Halliburton is awesome. The game against Chicago, the Heat totally stunk. But last night, the Heat beat Minnesota, okay, 113-110. Really good game, fun game. Tyler Hero, I mean, the cojones on Tyler Hero, the balls on him. He was 0 for 8 from 3, and he takes to win the game what he thought was what he thought was going to be a 3, and actually the Heat were up by 3 at the time. This put them up by 5 very late in the game. But what he thought was a 3 had his toe on the line, and the Heat winds up winning 113-110. Tyler finished the game 0 for 8 from 3, but that kid's confidence, man, he doesn't care. He's going to keep shooting, and you want him to shoot. He finished 7-19. He had 14 points and 8 assists, so it was a struggle for him last night. He wasn't very good, but he hits the shot that ends up icing the game for Miami. He ends up, that put the Heat up by 5, I think, at that point. They wind up going ahead to win 113-110, if I'm remembering correctly. And, of course, the final possession, you had the Wolves inbound the basketball, and the Heat come up with a steal there. D'Angelo Russell can't hold on to it. The Heat never allow them to get off a shot. So a really good defensive effort there late in the game from Miami. Boom, there you go. The Heat win 113-110. And yeah, Tyler Hero's shot there was with 33 seconds left. Put the Heat up by 5. Then you had Anthony Edwards who made a shot to cut it to 3. The Heat, they can't convert after that. And that was actually the play that was challenged, where Kyle Lowry thought he got a charge. The coach challenged. The referees were right originally, and they upheld the call on the floor. So that was definitely a blocking foul. Anthony Edwards can't make the next free throw, though, which was huge, because then you would have to go for 3. The Heat can't convert on the other end of the floor. It was a very late in the shot clock. It actually ended up being a shot clock violation, I believe. Maybe it grazed the rim. I don't know. But Caleb Martin was forced into rushing a 3-pointer, and that gave the Wolves a chance. But the Heat ends up getting the steal. I think Kyle Lowry got credit with the steal, and the Heat win 113-110. Good bounce-back game for Max Strus. 19 points, 5 of 10 from 3. Hit some big shots there in the fourth quarter. Kyle Lowry, look, when Bam and Jimmy don't play like last night, Bam and Jimmy were out. This season is so stupid. Bam had a non-COVID illness. Jimmy is nursing an ankle. And when those guys don't play, Kyle Lowry, he gets more aggressive. I don't understand. Why can't he look to shoot the ball? Why can't he try and drive at the basket? He never looks to shoot. He only shoots 3-pointers when Bam and Jimmy play. You don't think that would help? You don't think it opens things up a little bit if Kyle would drive also? look to shoot a little bit. When those guys play, Kyle Lowry prefers to do nothing. And when those guys don't play on a night like last night, Lowry has a nice little game. 18 points and 9 assists. That was a good job by Kyle Lowry last night. But those games are so few and far between. It's only when Bam and Jimmy don't play. It's like, oh, okay, well, I they are paying me $30 million. Maybe I should try and score a little bit. And he did that last night. And you also had, how about this? Orlando Robinson. 15 points, 9 rebounds. I'm just going to say what everybody else is thinking. All right, well, what you guys are thinking and saying as well. Last night, Jimmy and Bam were out. Dwayne Dedmon was out as well. Gabe Vincent made his return, missed, the last 9-10 games. Orlando Robinson should be getting all the backup center minutes. Yep. Yep, true story. Orlando Robinson should get all the backup center minutes. And I'm not, I don't think he's all of a sudden going to get all the backup center minutes when Dwayne Dedmon returns, because you know the way this team operates. You're seeing it with Nikola Jovic right now as well. They don't just hand the minutes to players. They don't just gift you minutes. Even if it may help the team, you got to earn it. You saw it last year with Yurtseven. They make you earn it. So I don't think it's a given that when Dedmon returns, that all of a sudden Orlando Robinson is going to supplant him as the backup center. I think he's going to have to keep working. He's going to eventually have to earn those minutes. But I'm just going to say what everybody with eyeballs already knows. And that's Orlando Robinson should be the backup center. I'm tempted to say, I wonder what it looks like when Orlando Robinson plays next to Bam. Whoa. I'm tempted to say, not start, because come on, where are we? But I'm tempted to say, you know what? Wouldn't mind seeing Orlando Robinson play next to Bam Adebayo for a couple stretches. I'd like to see what that looks like. So he's a nice little player. You get some size off the bench. I like what Orlando Robinson is giving them. I think that's the big takeaway from last night. It's like, all right, this kid, you got a big man here who might be able to give you a little something, at least until Yurt comes back. Because I know everybody wants to see Yurts of him. But for the time being, yeah, I think the mechanics done a nice job the last few years. I'd like to see Orlando Robinson get those backup minutes. He's done a nice job every time we've seen him so far this season. And again last night, when the Heat are at a deficit with size, 15 points, 9 rebounds, excellent job. So, big effort from Strus and Lowry last night. Hero hits the big shot. Orlando Robinson should clearly be getting the backup center minutes. That's our takeaway from last night. Now, the Heat obviously don't play tonight. Next up, tomorrow night, they're hosting the Los Angeles Lakers. Something to keep an eye on, all right? The Lakers are at the Magic tonight. Does LeBron play? My guess is he does, because why wouldn't he play? They last played Sunday afternoon. It's not a back-to-back tonight, excuse me, so there's no reason for LeBron not to play. But if LeBron plays tonight, you can be certain he ain't playing tomorrow. So if you're thinking about picking up tickets and look, tickets are expensive. Hell, the Heat fan's awesome, all right? I noticed this last week when I went to the game against Chicago. I turned to my buddy, I'm like, yo, it's a Tuesday night. Team stinks. I'm going to stink. Come on, 500 team. But team's not having a good season. It's a Tuesday night. Look up there in the rafters. Place is packed. And even last night, I'm looking on television and, playing Minnesota on a Monday night. Nobody cares about Minnesota. Place is packed. Heat fans awesome, man. It's a terrific job. It's one of the things that pisses me off about what's going on with the Panthers right now. Because the Heat, everyone trusts them. They've won 3 championships, and you've had sustained success. The Panthers, it felt like we're in a situation. They're back to being the Florida Panthers now. They're back to what they've always been. They stink, and they're embarrassing. I love them though. And the Panthers were headed in a direction where I've had back-to-back really good, really fun years, and then they hired the murderer of fun, Paul Maurice, and you've killed all the momentum. I would love for the Panthers to get to a place where you got that building packed on a nightly basis. Now, you got to win championships. And that's how you become Teflon. Like, the Heat are Teflon. When it comes to the attendance, when it comes to the fan base, they're always going to be packed. They're always going to be sold out. That's what happens when you win championships. Heat are Teflon. While the Panthers are a million years away from that. If you could put together a few years in a row, and they had back-to-back really strong seasons, unfortunately one of them was COVID. If you could put together a few seasons in a row, you could wind up packing that building on a nightly basis. And that's one of the things that was such a killer with the Panthers is it's not just that they suck now, it's that this franchise was finally in a place where they have an opportunity to grow the fan base. And just the murderer of fun. God, Paul Maurice, I hate his guts. So anyway, Panthers are back in action Thursday. They have Montreal. That'll be a really good crowd because it's winter break and you get all the French Canadians. All right, so that'll actually be really fun. The Heat are back in action tomorrow. But like I said, keep an eye on what goes on tonight in Orlando with the Lakers. If LeBron plays, he ain't going to play tomorrow. So just a heads up, you know that's the way the NBA goes. Today's NBA player likes two things more than anything else. They like to complain, and they love to not play. So just keep an eye out tonight what goes on in Orlando. I would expect LeBron to play tonight. There's no reason he wouldn't. But he's not playing back-to-backs, and that would mean he's not going to play on Wednesday against the Heat. So we'll see. All right. Also today, forgot to mention, we got a Tuesday edition, like always, of Good Times, Hard Times, Daddy. That's when we go over which NFL fan bases after this week of action. So which NFL fan bases after week 17 had 16 had good times, and which fan base having hard times, Daddy. Doesn't include the Dolphins. We know the Dolphins are having hard times, Daddy. So let me give you an update here as far as the Dolphins playoff picture, and then we'll get to the big news of the day, which of course is what's going on with Tua. So the Chargers win last night. What was the final score? 20-3. That's Jeff Saturday's stuff is stupid. You know, they win the first game, and you got people crowing out there about Saturday. They've lost 5 straight. And they look like an incompetent team. And I saw some of the numbers in the second half of games. That's where the coaching staff, you make some adjustments. And the Colts and Jeff Saturday are just getting their shit kicked in the second half of these the 5-game losing streak. You can't just hire a guy off the street. It's ridiculous. You can't hire a guy off the street. So the Colts and Jeff Saturday are getting exactly what they deserve. Here's where it'll be interesting. Because, you know, you got the Rooney Rule and all of that. Look, black people can be really pissed off where it's like, yeah, you got Jim Irsay who just, goes into his iPhone, goes into his favorites and says, Jeff Saturday, my pal, come coach the team. Look, he's the owner of the team. I guess he should be able to hire whoever he wants, but you could understand where black people will get upset. Man, that stuff never happens with black people. Black coaches never get that type of opportunity where they just get picked up off the streets. And you got to understand where they're coming from. Like, I get it. Because you look at Jeff Saturday right off the street, and he's been terrible. Very predictably. You can't just come off the street and be a head coach in the National Football League with zero head coaching experience at any level. It's embarrassing, all right? Anyway, so they're getting exactly what they deserve. But the Chargers win yesterday, so they go to 9-6. They have clinched a playoff spot. The Ravens clinched a playoff spot as well. So you have one playoff spot open to the Miami Dolphins. That's right. One spot. 5 teams have clinched. The division winner between Jacksonville and Tennessee are going to get the 4th spot. It's going to be Jacksonville. And the division is going to come down to that final game of the season where Jacksonville hosts Tennessee. I suppose that could be a Sunday night game because I'm pretty sure no matter what happens this weekend, week 17, week 18, Tennessee at Jacksonville is for the division and the loser's going to miss the playoffs. So you could, I don't know, can you see that being Sunday Night Football? I don't really think anyone cares about Titans and Jaguars, but that's a pretty juicy scenario. Winner wins the division, hosts a playoff game, loser goes home. I don't know. Anyway, hey, Dolphins-Jets. Like if Dolphins-Jets is for the final playoff spot, although it's not likely. The Jets are probably going to be done this weekend. They're at Seattle. But you would love Dolphins-Jets to be the Sunday Night Football game. That'd be fun. And the Dolphins win it, make the playoffs. But considering what's going on with Tua, if you're not definitely getting Tua starting, you can't make Dolphins Jets Sunday Night Football. Titans Jaguars got a chance. Anyway, so you got one playoff spot that's left available now. And it's the 7th spot, obviously. It's the last wild card spot, which the Dolphins currently hold at 8-7. But you got New England, New York Jets, Tennessee, and Pittsburgh at 7-8. I feel like you can cross off Tennessee because the loser of Jacksonville, Tennessee is going to have at least 9 losses after that final game. And I don't think you're going to get that final playoff spot with 9 losses. I think you're going to have to finish over 500. So anyway, that's what we're looking at right now. And here's the part that's super frustrating for Dolphin fans, right? So we get the news in the afternoon that Tua is back in concussion protocol. And I just saw on my television a little while ago, the idiots on First Take. I saw the headline, "Should Dolphins get criticism for the handling of Tua?" What are you talking about? Now, granted, it's out of context because I didn't listen to the conversation. I'm doing ZASLOW Show 2.0. I can't do ZASLOW Show 2.0 and watch First Take, but I saw the headline there. And I thought it was so stupid that I changed it. I got Undisputed on my television right now. I would have Amber Wilson on my television right now. She's hosting Briny right now and then Bart and Hahn, but I don't think she's on camera today. So that doesn't make any sense to put that on my television if she's not on camera. Go back. You're listening to ZASLOW Show 2.0 right now. And then when you're done with my show, you can go and you can listen to the podcast of Greeny or Bart and Hahn, and you listen to Amber. Her show, Joe and Amber, starts a week from tonight. That's right, January 3rd, ESPN Radio every night, so you make sure that you're listening to that. So anyway, this is pretty perfect for the Dolphin fan, right? And by perfect, I mean freaking awful. Where yesterday afternoon, we get word about Tua, he is back in the concussion protocol. You got to figure he's not playing this. What did the Dolphins mismanage? What didn't they handle properly? The coaches aren't doctors. How the hell would they know that he may have suffered a concussion in the middle of the game? And it's so stupid. Anyway, so just when we thought we were getting away from all the Tua Herbert stuff, right? Just when we thought we were getting away from the comparisons, just when we thought we were getting away from should the Dolphins have selected Herbert? No, Tua is an MVP candidate. The Dolphins have won 5 games in a row. Just when we thought that conversation was over, we've now had the last few weeks, which includes Herbert beating Tua head-to-head in a game that he was much better. But yesterday afternoon, the same day that Tua is in concussion protocol, all the old questions arise once again. Justin Herbert then goes and clinches a playoff spot that very same night. Tua, concussion protocol, injury prone, small, not fast, big losing streak, big choke job. Herbert, big, strong, lots of touchdowns, Monday Night Football, gets a win, clinches playoff spot, plays a good game. Same day. We are, all the goodwill it feels. That whole conversation. I mean, I'm sitting here on ZASLOW Show 2.0 telling you, Tua's better than Herbert. After all the talk the last couple years, Dolphins got the right guy. And now we take about 10 steps backward because of the last few weeks. I'm talking a big game going into the game against the Chargers that Tua is going to take that ass. Nope. Herbert was great. Tua stunk. Dolphins are now in a 4-game losing streak. Tua, concussion protocol, same day, Herbert clinches playoffs. You can't make it up. You can't make it up. And you know what? It's so easy for the Dolphin fan to feel hopeless. Because just a few weeks ago, we got our franchise quarterback. That's what this season's about, right? This season's about our franchise quarterback. And not that you don't believe necessarily that he can't get it done based on skill, based on talent, but now you're back to questioning if he can't get it done because he can't stay on the field. And that's a legitimate conversation. And the Dolphin fan, you can't blame him if he feels hopeless. Because right when it seemed like you solved that issue, we got a quarterback and the team is awesome. Now, the team is legitimately, they control their own fate. Anyone feel good about Bridgewater? He's looked terrible. They control their own fate, but, 50-50, they make the playoffs. Either they do or they don't. That's 50-50. 50-50, they make the playoffs. You can't feel good about it. And now we're back to whether or not Tua can be your franchise quarterback, because you may have a serious issue involving concussions. It's one thing, hey, if he hurt his thumb. All right, thumb will heal. But now we're talking maybe, again, there's a lot of maybes here when we're dealing with concussions. We're talking maybe 3 concussions in one season. That's like career-ending stuff. But also, maybe just 1 concussion. This is so difficult. We don't know. Like, a lot of people are going to try and jump to conclusions now, There's so much speculation, and we really know so little when it comes to these concussions. Did it affect his play? Do we even know the play that had happened? He may have 3 concussions. He may have just 1 concussion. He's only been diagnosed with 1, but it might be 3. It's so difficult. But that's what you're going to get like all day today. You're going to get a bunch of television doctors who are diagnosing Tua with 3 concussions and tell him, yo, kid, you got to retire. For me, there's so much speculation out there, and I think this is this is on Tua, all right? I'm getting messages yesterday from people in the biz. Yo, Tua's done. I'm like, why is he done? 3 concussions. Well, he's only been diagnosed with 1. We don't know. And you're back to, remember when he had the concussion, he had the fingers, and it was like the worst thing I've ever seen. And, you got to retire, kid. Stop retiring him. Stop telling him. You're going to hear that. Stop retiring him. Stop telling him he needs to retire. Tua's the quarterback of this team. What are the Dolphins going to do in the offseason? Valid question, but it's not like they have any other options. They don't have a first-round pick. Gave away the second one for Tyreek Hill, had the first one stripped. They don't have a first-round pick. I don't think their salary cap situation is very forgiving for next season. And, can you trade for Garoppolo? I suppose, but I don't think he's an upgrade over Tua. I like Garoppolo, but I don't think he's an upgrade over Tua. So it's not like they have a ton of, it's not like they got options out there. And it's just Tua's call. You're going to have a lot of people out there, 3 concussions, maybe 3, may just be 1. Nobody knows. It's all speculation. Tua, you got to retire. I am not going to sit here and tell him he should retire. Not doing it. I hope he plays. I hope he plays this weekend. I hope he doesn't get hurt, but I hope he plays this weekend. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, safety first. Yes, safety first, health first. Yes, health first. But if Tua clears the protocol and he wants to play, good, I hope he plays. I'm not going to apologize for that. I'm a fan. I want the team to win. I want him to be safe, but I also want him to win. And if doctors clear him and he wants to play, then I hope he plays. It's really that simple. So you're going to get a lot of speculation. You're going to get a lot of television doctors. You're not going to get it from me. I hope he clears the protocol within the next few days, and I hope he plays on Sunday. And matter of fact, Tua, maybe he should have said something in the second half of the game if he wasn't feeling so well. We don't know if he wasn't feeling so well during the game. Maybe he was, and he wanted to power through it. You know what? Respect, man. Respect. If that is the case, respect. I'm not going to sit here and say, Tua, you should have said something. No, I like what he did then. I like it. He was going out there for his teammates. He's going out there for his coach. He's going out there for the fans, man. He's trying to win the game. He felt he was able to get through it. Now, I don't know if he had symptoms during the game. Maybe he did. He was like, yeah, I got... You know what's interesting? Because we talked about this yesterday where you get the second interception, right? The clearly miscommunication with Raheem Mostert. And Raheem Mostert was very clear about it, saying, totally on me. It was a miscommunication on my part. I was supposed to do this. I did that. Totally on me. And Tua, because he's a great leader, did not take that attitude. He did not put any blame on Raheem Mostert. Matter of fact, he even said, that may have been my fault. I may have said the wrong play. I may have said the wrong thing in the huddle. And I thought that was totally Tua covering for Mostert, as a quarterback should. Quarterback always has to take the blame. But I thought that was Tua just totally covering for Mostert. Maybe Tua was telling the truth there. Maybe Tua may have called the wrong play for Mostert there. Like maybe Mostert was doing the right thing. And Tua's the one who may have said the wrong thing in the huddle. Like that's totally possible, right? Maybe he was feeling a bit foggy and he totally called the wrong play for Mostert. And then I've seen videos on Twitter where this looks like the play where he may have gotten hurt. You can see the back of his head looks like it slams on the ground. It was on a short pass to Durham Smythe. And you look at his numbers before that, and he was like, 9 of 13 for 200 some odd yards. And then you look after that, and a touchdown. And then after that play, he was 8 of 13 the rest of the game for 80 yards and 3 interceptions. It's circumstantial. It's circumstantial evidence for sure. But that's why we did today's poll question, right? Today's poll question, because again, very circumstantial, the evidence, but it is what it is. So that's why today's poll question, ZASLOW Show 2.0 poll, go to @ZASLOW Show and you could vote. With Tua in concussion protocol, do you take back anything you said after his 3 INTs? And right now, 55% of the vote, no, he still stunk. The other option is yes, I'm so sorry. So I'm not taking back anything I said because it's all speculation. We don't even know if he suffered a concussion. So while he had symptoms, the symptoms may, look, I don't know if you're aware, I'm not a doctor, but maybe the symptoms are from the previous concussion. And so he's having some symptoms yesterday. We have no idea. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Tua didn't choke in the fourth quarter of that game. Because here's also the thing. And you know I'm a Tua guy. Look, you could be critical of Tua without it meaning you don't want him on the team anymore. Like, totally. You don't think there are games where Josh Allen is reckless with the ball and Bills fans are being critical? I'm sure they still love him. But you could be critical of a player, be critical of the quarterback, and still, love him. I mean, hell, I've been critical about Bam Adebayo. I've been critical about Jimmy Butler. Those are my dogs, right? Those are my dogs. But you can still be critical of a player. I've been critical of, who do we want to say? I've been critical of Sasha Barkov. He deserves it. But he's still my dog. You could be critical of Tua without it meaning that you don't want him on the team. Tua's still my QB1. Stop saying that shit. So I'm still a Dolphin fan. Ride or die. What? Why wouldn't you be? All right. But I think the overwhelming thought, at least for me, where I'm not sorry about anything I said, if Tua may have had a concussion. Again, it's only may have. We're never going to know for sure. We're literally never going to know for sure. But I'm not sorry because it's all encompassing, man. It's the 4th consecutive game. In all 4 games, he's been outplayed by the other quarterback. Now, it doesn't mean he played bad in all those games. The Buffalo game played very well, but he was outplayed by the other quarterback. And in all 4 of these games, here's an important factor. And this is why the people who are not taking back their comments that they made after the game on Sunday are not taking their comments back. In all 4 of these games, the San Francisco game, we're down by 6, I think, at the time. The Chargers game, we were down by 6. The Bills game, down by 3. Or it was tied. And, it was tied. And, of course, this past week, down by 3, down by 6. All 4 of these games, Tua had the ball with a chance to win in the fourth quarter. And that's why, whether he suffered a concussion or not, which maybe didn't, but maybe led to the 3 interceptions in the fourth quarter. Again, the evidence is super circumstantial, but it's there. Whether a possible concussion led to him having that performance, a very uncharacteristic performance, okay? 3 INTs in a game are completely out of character for Tua. He only had 5 all season. And then you have 3 in the fourth quarter. Like I said, super circumstantial, the evidence. Was it because of the concussion? But I'm not upset over anything, or I'm not taking back anything that I said, because again, it's 4 games in a row where Tua has had the ball in the fourth quarter and the team has had a chance to win. Now, that doesn't mean that all 4 of those drives, all 4 of those games, it was his fault. Like, for instance, Gesicki's got to make that catch instead of trying to pin it up against his helmet. Like, all 4 of those games were not his fault. But all 4 games, Tua had the football in the fourth quarter with a chance to win, and they didn't. So that factors in for me, and I'm sure it factors in for the 55% who are saying, no, they're not sorry with anything they said after Sunday's game. And now you may not see him again this season. Can't feel confident about Bridgewater this weekend. So the Dolphins go to New England with a chance to clinch. If they win on Sunday and the Jets lose in Seattle, the Dolphins clinch a playoff spot. The Dolphins now, the scenario that we really wanted was to get all the way up to 5th. And we knew last week, to get all the way up to 5th, Dolphins have to win their final 3, and the Ravens and Chargers have to lose 1 of their final 3. Well, that scenario is almost out the window, because now, of course, the Dolphins would have to win their final 2 after blowing the game this past weekend. So to clinch a playoff spot this weekend, beat New England and a Jets loss at Seattle, you're in. If you want to get all the way up to 5, the only way to do it is the Dolphins win their final 2 games and Baltimore and the Chargers lose their final 2 games. Not likely. I don't think any of those 3 are likely. The Dolphins would have to win their final 2 games. Baltimore would have to lose their final 2, which is they have Pittsburgh and at Cincinnati. I mean, they could certainly lose at Cincinnati. That may be for the division. The Pittsburgh game, I don't know if Lamar Jackson's playing or not. So, if Lamar Jackson doesn't play, can they lose to Pittsburgh? Yeah, they could. It's in Baltimore, but they could lose it. It's a big rivalry game. And then the Chargers, in order for the Dolphins to get to 5th, could the Chargers lose both games? The Chargers have the LA Rams. You got to figure they win that game. And they're at Denver. Come on. Chargers have a soft final 2 games. Now, what about moving up to 6? Because if you're 7th, you're playing at Buffalo or Kansas City the first week. If you move up to 6, you're playing at Cincinnati, which is no picnic either. But in order to get up to 6, the Dolphins have to win their final 2 games, and either Baltimore or Los Angeles lose their final 2. So there you have it. There you have it. The Dolphins can be in this weekend with a win at New England. They're definitely in if they win their final 2. They would jump up to 5th if they win their final 2. Baltimore and Los Angeles lose their final 2. They would jump up to 6th if they win their final 2. Baltimore or Los Angeles lose their final 2. There we are. That's how it's done. That's how it's done. Ah, man. Like, yesterday was a frustrating show to do because we got to do all the reaction, with the Dolphins losing. And now today, we're back to worrying if we have a quarterback. Ah, man. This season was so much fun. Things were going so well. And now it's like the Dolphins are killing us. The Panthers are killing me. The Heat season is stupid. They won last night, but it's so stupid. I got to start watching more Canes basketball. Canes basketball, Coach Larinaga and them boys, they're inside the top 15 now after last week's win against Virginia. I told you they were going to jump into the low teens. They're inside the top 15 now after last week's win against Virginia. Got to start watching Coach L and them boys. They're out there doing their thing. Dolphins, Heat, Panthers are killing me. Man. All right, let's shake things up a little bit. Let's mix it up a little bit. But you know what? First, if you're not feeling so hot, You know I've been telling you about Doctors on Call 365, all right? If you're not feeling well, maybe you're coming down with a cold, maybe you're coming down, you think you may have the flu, God forbid. You're going to call the doctor. All right, I could see you in 2 weeks from now. No, I don't feel well today. How do I see someone today? Luckily, you're listening to your boy right now. Doctors on Call 365. South Florida's urgent care that comes to you. Dr. Alon, he's the medical director. Board-certified emergency medicine and residency-trained internal medicine doctor. He will come to your home and treat you. That's right. You get on the phone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You're going to get someone on the phone immediately. You call 786-577-9302. And then later that day, you got a doctor in your home giving you a flu test, giving you a COVID test, giving you a strep test. If you need IV fluids to help you get back on your feet. Maybe you need blood drawn, a prescription refilled, a prescription filled out. Doctors on Call 365 can handle almost everything that you would get at a regular brick and mortar urgent care, but in the comfort of your home or your office or wherever you're at. And for me, the price of convenience, I mean, it's priceless. I've used Dr. Alon, Doctors on Call 365 twice in the last month and a half. So convenient. I'm sitting at my kitchen table. I needed a COVID and a flu test. Gave it to me right there. I get the results in a few minutes. So, and I was sick, man. I couldn't get up and go somewhere. Thank God Doctors on Call 365 was available. They're based in Broward County, but they also serve Miami-Dade and Southern Palm Beach as well. Look, it's self-pay, but the price you would pay with your copay to go to urgent care or to go to emergency room and wait, it's going to wind up being more than you would pay with Doctors on Call 365. DoctorsOnCall365.com, 786-577-9302.